Okay, can you check it now at home? Can you hear me, Frank?
I can't.
Yes,
I don't have
hear
the something. Mike, can you hear it, Mike?
I can hear it through the TV now.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we got it.
Alrighty. We good to go?
Okay. I'm all set.
Okay.
Everybody else is set. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay, public comment on agenda items. Now open the meeting to the public for comments on agenda items. Please call in now. Dial in at 312-757-3121, access code of 472-199-829, or email lfernandez@hawthornenj.org. And this is for, thank you, Alma. This is for items that are on the agenda, not for the public.
How'd it go, Marita?
Caller one, can you mute your mic? Lori, can you mute caller one's mic? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion to close the public comment.
So moved.
Motion by Lane.
Second.
Second by Sierra. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. Adoption of ordinances. We have none this evening. Old business. Joe, we'll start your way.
All right, let's start with 108 Bamford Ave. A tree was hit by lightning. I sent an email. Has there been any update on that, Eric? I don't hear a word he's saying.
You're not talking.
He's muted.
Can you unmute him, please, Lori?
I'm getting there.
I hit it and then somebody hit the other one. I said, I don't have an update for you today, but I'll get you one.
All right, it was, I sent actually a whole bunch of emails, but I didn't get any replies. Just going back on the street cleaning for Ward 1-3. I know we have not been enforcing the parking, but we've yet running the street cleaner down the middle of the road. So I don't know what good that's doing because there's a lot of debris on the sides.
Yeah. I think we are going to be I'll talk to the police chief. I think we will be enforcing the parking. Not every street has that issue, so we run the route so we can sweep where we can, but I'll talk to the police chief about the enforcement.
And in my email, I said either we don't run the street cleaner to go down the street because you're not really cleaning anything, or we enforce the parking. So we could either do one or the other. Well, to run the street cleaner down the middle of the road doesn't make any sense.
Talked about enforcing the parking, but there are places where there isn't parking, and it's still worth running the route to get those places.
Right, we have a resident who complains on a regular basis. I took pictures and sent them, and I'm okay if somebody wants to go down the street with a broom to go around the cars if we're not going to, but we just can't leave all the debris there.
I understand. That's why I said I'm going to talk to the police chief about enforcement.
Well, that's it on old business. I'm going to make the other one new business.
Okay, Michael.
Nothing tonight, Frank. Thanks.
Rena.
No, I don't have anything, Council President.
Dominic.
I'm okay.
John.
Yes, I have some. Eric, I saw that you called me, but I didn't have a chance to listen to your voicemail. Is there any update on the central fire alarm systems in central stations for the borough buildings?
Yes, we've had a vendor out there several times. They need to return one more time to get all the information in order to give us a proposal for doing the buildings. But it's something we're working on.
Okay, did he give you an idea when he'll be back and when he can supply the proposal?
I didn't get that back. I asked I left a message to get that information, but I haven't heard back.
Okay. Also, the overhead garage doors at the ambulance building, I had called you last Monday and told you that I thought it was very important to have that done because one window fell out and almost hit one of the members as the door was going up. Is there any update on that?
Yes, we notified the door company. Unfortunately, they were backed up. They will be out next week, I believe, on the 15th.
Do you know when they were notified?
I believe it was I believe it was right after you notified me, and I passed it on to Public Works. But I can't tell you that for sure.
Okay, all right.
Relay that information as soon as I got it from you.
Thank you. And also, I can come back to that under administration. That's all I have, Frank. Thank you.
Bruce?
Nothing, Council President.
While we're in old business, Eric, I'll follow up on the PSC&G sidewalk repair work that Joe normally would follow up on, but I figured I'd carry the mantle this week.
I've re-notified them. Again, I think the last meeting I said it would be soon, but obviously it was not soon, at least not soon by what we would want. I will follow up again.
I will tell you, if I could comment, Council President, they are working on it. So I'm happy to report if you go southern portions of Lafayette Ave, those areas have been repaired. Up by Dominic's house have not been repaired yet. So I guess they're moving from south to north, but they are getting there.
Progress, as Greg used to say. I knew Rich would get that one. You're about the only one left. Okay, new business. Joe, since you last spoke, go to new business.
All right, so 2 items I do have for new business. I emailed about the weeds around the tennis court. I know that we redid the tennis court, Dr. Boswell with that, but there are weeds that are breaking through now. So is that a concern of ours at the tennis court?
Are you asking? I would say, Joe, just treat it with Roundup. I mean, if weeds come through, just kill them off. Eric,
Yep, we'll follow up on that.
Yeah, DPW just spray it with Roundup. That'll take care of it.
I'm just concerned that we have weeds going around the surface that we just completed on how old could that surface be now?
Well, remember, we put down the plastic tiles over the old surface. So weeds could still, if they're coming up through the asphalt, will come up through the plastic tiles, but it doesn't affect the surface.
All right, thank you. And then the next, if I can make a comment under new business, I don't know if all the other council people have been receiving the emails in regards to masks. Everybody did?
Yeah, everyone has been.
All right, so I just want to make a comment. I think everybody knows how I feel about COVID-19, working in a hospital and seeing as much death as I have, losing 13 coworkers. I can't say enough and how important it is to protect ourselves. Having said that, if anyone is interested, I'll be more than happy to give them a tour of an ICU unit and they can see firsthand exactly what this horrible COVID has done to people's lives. That's all I have to say.
Well, to follow up on that, Joe, while I appreciate the people's request for their personal liberties, it's really nothing that we as a council or even the mayor can control one way or the other. It really comes down to the governor and his executive order, whether we need to or not need to. I mean, we can obviously write requests to him to say we want to have this be an optional request, but we have no power to do it. So I appreciate the request of the many people who sent us the request to make it a optional request or personal choice to wear a mask. I hear you, but it's nothing that we have in our control to be able to regulate. So, new business following up from Joe. Michael.
I got nothing tonight, Council President. Thanks.
Rena.
Just wanted to follow up with the email that I sent Eric and Frank about Diamond Bridge Avenue with the kids riding their bikes along the sidewalk. Apparently there were signs in the past that did not allow this. So Frank, according to your email, it sounds like these signs were there. And then with the whole sidewalk project that we did, we need to put them back up.
I don't know where they went after we did our streetscape project, but under Mayor Engelhardt, there were signs that said, please walk your bike, or there's no bike riding on that section of Diamond Bridge. I emailed Eric late in the day to say, do you know where they were? And I'm sure he's trying to track down where they ended up.
Okay, is it just on Diamond Bridge Avenue that they can't ride the bikes, or is it on Lafayette? Is it just more than one street?
I don't think there's an ordinance that deals with anything. As in many cases in Hawthorne, there were signs, but I don't think that there was an ordinance. So when you ask where it should be, if you're asking people for voluntary compliance, I guess you can put them wherever you want. If there wants to be a prohibition, it probably has to be via ordinance. I'll let Michael weigh in on that.
There is no ordinance. This emanated from actually a person who worked on Diamond Bridge Avenue coming out of her store and getting hit or almost getting hit by a bicycle rider. And the response at that time was to put up signs without an ordinance. And so there is no ordinance in place. If it's something the council wants to consider, we can take a look at it.
Well, I think it makes a lot of sense because with the outdoor dining that's temporarily here, and quite frankly, I enjoy seeing it in us for dining. I don't mind it being here and encouraging it going forward.
Frank, where would you put the signs? There's no room on the sidewalks.
I would, Dominic, I would put it on
the beginning on the corners. On the corners of like Lafayette and Diamond Bridge, and then Grand and Diamond Bridge. But yeah, I don't recall where they were, but it's a good habit to walk your bike. A lot of downtowns don't want you skateboarding or bike riding in their downtown. So that's something I would encourage.
Mr. President, if you like, I can put that on the agenda for the ordinance committee.
I would think that'd be a good discussion.
You got to cut into them pavers.
No, there's existing signposts that we can put them onto.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, this would be the flavor of the board, but I would support it.
Yeah, that would be great because the gentleman who reached out to me, he said he almost got hit also about a week or two ago, a couple of weeks, and then he sent me the video. So there seems to be a problem that's going on, and I definitely would support having the sign just as an awareness, and we could do like an Nexel or something to go out, but I would use existing posts that are there.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice with the restaurants being open and having the people out in town. It makes it seem like there's more life downtown, and that's good to see, in my opinion. So where do we leave off? Rena?
That's it for me. Thank you.
Bruce?
Nothing, sir.
Dominic?
I guess this is new business. With the outside dining, as of closing on Saturday night, the streets are dirty, and we don't sweep the streets the following Friday morning. Do we sweep them Monday morning, possibly? Eric? Is that possible? Is that a problem?
I'll review it with Public Works. I may very well be possible.
Friday morning, but after Saturday night, the streets, Sunday morning, the streets look like they don't look too good.
I'll review with Public Works to find out when we can sweep it.
Okay. I'm okay for me.
John?
Just to tack on to Councilman Neely's suggestion, in the past, we used to we used to clean the streets starting around 4 o'clock in the morning. So no cars were around, and we used to go curb to curb. If
We
that's
still
the
do
case,
that.
we might want to do that down there at least before the cars start to get on the street. And other than that, I have no new business, Mr. President.
Okay. Well, seeing as no one else has any other new business, turn to the administrative agenda presented by Mayor Goldberg. Mayor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. First, I want to thank everyone for being responsible, wearing masks and socially distancing. I really want to thank Hawthorne for crushing the curve. We've done a great job with our numbers. We opened the pool on Thursday, July 2nd. We were able to offer hours until 8 p.m. and offer adult swim on weekday mornings from 10 to 11. Thank you to our DPW for working so hard for getting the pool ready. A special thanks to our pool manager, Rob Berger, and assistant Roy for their hard work. I know Rob has gone over and above in order to ensure the pool is adhering to the rules and regulations with respect to the COVID virus. I appreciate everyone's dedication and expertise. We hope on Monday to open the municipal building. We still have a few more things to take care of to ensure the safety of our employees and your safety when you come down. But we do anticipate meeting on a Monday. I will also report that I had the first meeting with the chairman and vice chairman of the Pride Committee, Alliance Committee, and we will need a couple of more meetings before we get a larger group going. With that being said, I now call upon Mike Pasquale for his report.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I want to start, of course, I'd be very much remiss if I didn't recognize that it is my daughter's birthday. So happy birthday to my daughter, Michelle, and to our chief of police, Rich McCullough, who is considerably older than she is. Yesterday was a momentous day for the borough. Yesterday, I appeared in the Passaic County Superior Court virtually, of course, and we conducted what's known as a fairness hearing. Fairness hearing is a determination by a Superior Court judge that the settlements we reached with the three settling entities, Fair Share Housing Center, 204 Wagler Road, and 3 Ronson LLC, were fair settlements. And the fairness in this case is fair to the class of persons who would occupy these properties, people of low and moderate incomes. The idea is to not just create ordinances or agreements, but to create the realistic opportunity to see that housing is developed. Special thanks to Joe Burgess and John Sabo. John appeared yesterday, as did Lori, for the hearing, and John carried the ball as he set forth our proposal and our plan. And the judge was extremely complimentary, indicating that Hawthorne has created a plan that is actually going to result in a shovel hitting the ground. Too many communities adopt ordinances to avoid their obligation. Hawthorne has never tried to avoid its obligation. We've met it. The mayor had a very clear direction and vision from the beginning, and that's what we adhere to. And I'm very proud of what we did and very thankful to all of you for your support. So thank you. And this was a big day. Also yesterday, ironically, we received news from the district court of the Federal Appeals Court for the Third Circuit, which sits in Philadelphia but covers New Jersey, Pennsylvania. I believe Delaware is included in there, but it's the Third Circuit affirmed the dismissal of the lawsuit filed against Hawthorne and other municipalities by an entity called Mid-America Salt. I sent you a detailed memo. I'm not going to bore everyone at home with all the details of the decision, but it's an interesting decision because it's a 2-to-1 decision. So there were 2 judges voting in favor and 1 dissenting, which means there is a right of appeal to the United States Supreme Court. We'll see if that's where we end up, and we could end up before the U.S. Supreme Court with this matter. We can only, I guess, hope that that's where we get. But in any event, I thank everybody again. I wish everybody continued good health. Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Michael. At this time, I call upon Borough Engineer Steve Boswell for his report.
Thank you, Mayor. The Gopher Hill water storage tank is complete. We've sent the final documents over to Eric for signature to finish that out. Mary Street will be in the same position in a couple of weeks. The 2019 municipal aid road program, which was Arlington Ave Phase 2 and Alexandra Ave, the DOT performed their final inspection. They signed off on everything. A maintenance bond was requested from DLS, and then we can close out that document and get you the remaining 25% of your grant for that project. The 2019 road program, the maintenance bond has been requested from DLS, and that'll be closed out probably at the next meeting. The 2020 road program, the pre-construction meeting was held by conference call on Thursday, July 2nd. Weather permitting, DLS plans to begin work on Monday, July 13th. Cifelli is his concrete subcontractor, which is interesting because Cifelli is the general contractor for the Parmley Avenue project. So Cifelli is going to do the concrete work first for DLS and then do his own concrete work on the 2020 municipal aid project, which is Parmley Avenue. The Hawthorne Library lighting, they wanted some changes, which only the state government could ask for these kind of quick changes. In the 7-page narrative, they wanted every single item that they wanted broken out with a title. It's all been done. So that's all back in. This is for the grant for the library lighting. The 2021 municipal aid application has been submitted for Bamford Avenue. And finally, we provided 3 prices for the installation of a trench drain at the DPW door because of the water that comes down the hill and is causing a bit of a problem. We forwarded those on to Eric. And other than that, Mayor, I'll answer any questions anyone has.
Thank you, Steve. At this point, I call upon my Borough Administrator, Eric Mauer, for his report.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to set a record for the shortest report that I've made, I think, since I've been working for the borough. Today we had the audit exit conference for the 2019 audit via conference call, actually via Zoom, with Lori Foley, myself, and our auditors. There are once again, there are no recommendations, which are basically findings that need to be disclosed, which is good news. Our fund balance is healthy. We'd like to schedule the resolution for review and approval of the audit for the July 22nd meeting, which will be the next meeting, and so we will have that completed. Just in going through that audit, we've actually come up with a funding source for the trench drain that Steve was talking about, because there was one ordinance funded by the water utility that had not been fully expended, so we should be able to do that without having to hit current appropriations, because it was for the development of that facility, and that's what we use it for. And finally, the 2020 tax bills will be out by the middle of next week, which would leave us on the regular schedule for payment of taxes for the third and fourth quarter. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Eric. Council President will be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, questions for the administration. John, we'll start your way. You're not on.
I'm sorry. Steve, just as a note, you had mentioned about the weeds at the tennis courts. I would not suggest using Roundup based on all the news that's out there with regard to lawsuits and cancer-causing effects. By using Roundup for at least residential, there's got to be some other chemicals out there that I think would be just as appropriate.
Good suggestion, John. I'd ask Raina to look at the environmental committee if they have one in mind that they like. We need some kind of a general herbicide just to kill it off, but that's a good point, John. Thanks.
No problem. Also, Steve, on the June 17th meeting, I had asked Pete, he was sitting in for you, with regard to were all the residents notified and spoken to with regard to
Yes.
That was going to be done. He never got back to me.
Sorry, John. Yes, they were. They all were notified.
Okay. Also, I'd like to thank the mayor for pushing the four-way stop signs on Pocomoke and Pasadena. Mayor, thank you. They look great, and the residents are very happy, and the people are stopping now, so thank you.
Okay, they should look red with 8 sides.
What?
You said they look great. I assume that they're red with 8 sides.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
How do you follow that?
Gets me all the time.
Fine, I'm fine.
Bruce?
No, sir, I think we're good.
Rena?
I'll take up Steve's offer about the commission looking at alternatives. I know Downs is using alternatives tree service, so I'll reach out to them. We'll find out. The old-fashioned way, you may just have to pull them. Is there a lot of weeds at the tennis court, Joe?
Yeah, it does the whole circumference of the court, and then there's some inside.
Okay. I don't have anything.
Mike?
Thank you, Council President. I have a few quick things. First, I want to acknowledge and appreciate Eric coming to a physical visit to a resident who had some concerns. We both took care of it, met with the resident, and looked like he was able to take care of his issue on his own, but I want to thank you because it showed our support to the residents in our community. I also want to acknowledge that the pedestrian signs that we've been waiting for, there are 2 up at Grand and Diamond Bridge. So I'm very happy to see that.
They were up 2 weeks ago.
More on schedule, but at least we got a good start, and I know that's a bad intersection, so we're happy to see that. Let's see. Also, on the weed situation, I don't know if it is something that we can do in Jersey and if it would work with the Environmental Commission, but a soil sterilant might be an option if it is legal. I'm not quite sure, but it's something to look at. Soil sterilant will kill anything from growing. Anything, anytime. You don't have to go back every year and put Roundup or another alternative like that. So that's just an option. You should find out at least if it's legal and it's something we can do in New Jersey. Also, I want to ask just the mayor one quickly question. I know this was talked about at a previous meeting. I might have mentioned to you a while back, and I think I mentioned to you earlier today when we were at the library board. Is there any opportunity for us to look at Diamond Bridge being open for our businesses on Sunday? Now, I know there's a challenge with St. Anthony's Church having services on Sunday morning, but is it something that can we look into? And I know you may have to speak to the county, so I just want to get some feedback from the community.
Yeah, Michael, it's something that we've been looking into just to expand it to a 3rd day. Also have had preliminary conversations with the county about doing this on a permanent basis, perhaps Memorial Day through Labor Day and years to come, because it's really brought a vitality to the downtown that I think is important. And I think it's also helping the vendors downtown, the restaurateurs downtown, help to make up a little extra business of what they've lost over the last 3 months. So that's something we're looking at.
Great.
I don't think it'll be a problem for St. Anthony's throughout the summer because they're limited at their services to less than 100 people. I was there on Sunday for the 10 o'clock mass, and there were only 50 people. So closing down Diamond Bridge on Sunday shouldn't present a problem there, I wouldn't think.
All right, thanks. And also, we need to talk to the police too for the recommendation.
Okay. Thank you so much. That's all I have, Council President.
Joe?
I do have a couple items. I sent an email in regards to the parking on the path at the pool parking lot. Has that been addressed, Eric? Where's Eric?
Yeah, Eric.
Sooner or later, I'll learn. While the pool is open, we definitely don't have cars there. When we're preparing the pool, because things are being transported in and out. Yeah, we will have trucks and cars that will go up there, but not when the pool is open.
It's been parked there. It looks like an Audi. I sent you a picture and an email about it.
Since the pool's open?
It was during pre-registration. I sent you the picture.
Okay. Okay. Well, that shouldn't be allowed during while the pool's open, or if we're doing something like pre-registration there. So I will. I didn't realize that it was during that time. So.
Is Al back?
You remember, that's when I brought it up the last time when Al did it. And Councilman Bertolo and I stayed on this for a really long time, and then it started to happen again when we got a new pool manager, and now it seemed to resurface its head again. It's not that far of a walk. Admin, I sent you also an email in regards to the resident complaining about speeding on Diamond Bridge towards Goffel Road. Did anyone reply to him?
I didn't
no, I
get
haven't.
the email, Jim.
I will check and make sure there's a reply goes out.
Please. He says that since we installed this speeding sign going away from Goffel Road, that seems to be working out, but now the speeding is such a problem going up towards Goffel Road. A question for Dr. Boswell. What section of Bamford Ave is slated for road reconstruction?
I think the whole one, the whole street.
No, I think it's the entire lane.
Yeah,
That's what-
assuming we get the money.
That's what, this is a competitive grant, Joe, but remember, in Passaic County, you get a grant. We just don't know the amount they'll give us, but we submitted for the whole lane.
All right, excellent, because I know I sent that in as one of the requested streets to get reconstructed, Bamford Ave.
That's why we did it. That's why we did it.
See, we do listen to you, Al.
All right, good, because here comes the next one. I can't tell you how, you ready, Michael? I can't tell you how disappointed I am. I know, I see you. I am so unhappy about this picnic, barbecue, rave, whatever you want to call it. It is exactly everything I said it was going to be and more. There's going to be 200 people. There's going to be a concert. There's going to be a barbecue. This is exactly the items I discussed. And I requested that we didn't pass this license. I even joked that I'd never be able to go there again. And here we are. It's on Facebook. It's being posted out there. From what I understand, all the 200 tickets have been sold. And I'm really disappointed. If any of my co-council people have an opinion, this is the time to please weigh in, because this is not what Ward 1, District 1 needs.
Didn't the governor say we got 250?
Yes.
No, I know.
500 now.
Well, no, we the whole purpose of last week, we asked questions, and even I said to Joe, move on, we beat this to death. They submitted a map of where they were going to have their outdoor liquor, and I know that's for the permanent solution, and the governor's allowing outdoor dining for COVID to exceed things and just to move it all out. But they do not have approval for an outside concert event from the planning board. That was never the intention. Last week, we did say, we don't want this to be parties. I don't want this to be an outdoor bar situation type event. And for it to be promoted by a professional promoter, they had all this information in the works before 2 weeks from today, previously. So we were hoodwinked. And normally, no offense, Joe, I just let you swing in the wind. I have your back this time. I guess they're gonna spit in my food too now. But this was not proper. They held back information about this party. We said no parties. And we were told, don't worry about it. And they changed it from rave to the word barbecue. We were born at night, but not last night.
be happy to address all of that. You're first of all talking about Batagra Restaurant. I'm aware of it. I have had multiple discussions with the owners of Batagra. The chief of police was aware of this. The zoning administrator and I are all confident that this is not only permitted, but very much different from what you as a council spoke of. You as a council indicated, and Joe in particular, you did not want to see the Sunday brunches that are held at Batagra now be held outside, and Batagra is not doing that. They're trying to put together an event for the community, something that we could be proud of in the sense of a barbecue. There will be music outside, no different from the fact that other venues have music outside. There will be a limited number of seats. They have sold tickets. There will be 8 seats to a table. It is 100% compliant with what is allowed. They are breaking no rules, not any state laws, and not any local rules. So
That's not true. That's not true, Michael.
100% true, Council President.
They do not have approval from the planning board to be an outside concert hall.
They don't need it.
Yes, they do.
I'm sorry, but I disagree. This is totally permitted.
Well, as the council president, I'm saying thank you for advice. End of story. Thank you.
I don't know what that means, but I will.
Be quiet. You are done.
Wow.
Yes. You and the owners held back information about this. This is no different than the rave. I
held back nothing. And I resent that. I resent being told I held something back from you. You and I spoke at length.
That's correct. I have no problem with that being, no problem with they have dining outside for 200 people. God bless them if they can help come back with the restaurant and be strong. But this outside concert is no different than they did all last year on Sundays with their brunches. It's the exact same thing as last year's brunches. To say it's a different thing and call it a barbecue is no different than the brunch.
Well, again, in my opinion, it is permitted.
It's a community event? It can't be a community event. I've never paid $100 to go.
75. 75, Joe. Don't exaggerate.
All right. I just went real quick to look at the price. I apologize. 75, you're right. But also, they're accepting up to tables of 12 on the Facebook website.
That was a mistake. It was corrected. There was an initial.
Well, it's not corrected on the Facebook page.
There was an initial printing, and the owners corrected. They are going to comply with everything they're required to comply with. I'm sorry, but this is something that they are having outdoor music. It is not a concert. People will be seated at their tables. They will not be walking around. There is reserved seating. This is something that is totally permitted, and I'm sorry, but that is where this stands. I have informed them of the displeasure of some of the members of this council.
No, the majority of the members of this council.
Thank you.
It is the majority, and there is a stage, it's advertised. This is not just outside. A stage with people singing on it is a concert. This is a one and done.
When do you have concerts down at the band show? When is that starting?
We haven't scheduled a band shell concert at this point.
And why? Why haven't you?
We haven't scheduled one because right now the situation is rather fluid as to where we're going to be with outdoor crowds. We had heard that the numbers were going to expand rather significantly and quickly, and then there was a significant pullback by the governor's office. So we're a little bit hesitant to start scheduling events if the numbers start going the other direction. We are hoping to still do something.
Hesitant, but it's okay that we allow Batagra to do it.
All right, listen, I mean, you have your opinion, and I understand.
When does the food truck mashup start down at the band show?
I've answered the question.
All right, because their food truck mashup is on that day. They're going to have a food mashup. They're going to have a barbecue. They're going to have VIP seating where you could be right next to the stage for the concert. It's all on the Facebook. I'm not making any of this up.
Joe, I'm sorry, but I looked at this, and everybody in the administration looked at this and are of the opinion that it is perfectly allowable. I understand the council disagrees with that position.
And so does the planning board.
I take that as under advisement, I'll say.
Mr. President, I also concur that, you know, we gave him approval 2 weeks ago reluctantly, and you can't sell 200 tickets, get a band together, have an outside promoter do all this work before you get approval. And that's exactly what they did. And I agree with Councilman Motecki, with you, as far as this. And I would even go as far as to say, I would ask the mayor to put a stop to this, because he's probably the only one that can do it. And we should revoke their approvals that we gave them last meeting, because they took us for a ride. We took them on the face value of them, and they to me, they lied to us, period.
John, I had a conversation with one of the owners Saturday night, and I told him that my phone has been lit up over this, and that that we were going to look very carefully at what happens at this event, and that this could be their last outdoor event, depending on how the crowd and the people reacted. He also assured me that they'd be hiring off-duty police for security to them as well, and that there was off-site parking. We're looking at this very hard, because while we want to give all businesses a chance to succeed, we just want to make sure that they do it the Hawthorne way. How's that for a... So we're looking at this event very carefully, and I've been talking to my police department about this as well. We hope that it comes off the way it's been promised to us, that there'll be no dance floor, that if people will be seated, that you can't go to the bar to get a drink. And I'm hopeful, I'm hoping for the best, but as always, we hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So we'll be prepared no matter what happens, but based on what happens at this event will determine whether this ever happens again there. You know, it's like everything else in life. You got to give somebody a chance to prove that they can't do what they told you they could. And that's why we're keeping a close watch on it, but they are hopefully doing the proper thing.
Well, we gave them a chance to tell us what they're going to do, and they didn't do it.
I can tell you this as a fact. When they had the entertainment inside with all the people basically shoulder to shoulder, they also had problems at that time, because we were called, meaning the ambulance corps, for fights that they had there, and we had to take people to the hospital. So I don't see anything different with the type of people that they're getting, because I would think that a lot of the people that are going aren't even from Hawthorne. And I just don't feel it's right that we continue and give them approval. I think we should reverse the approval that we gave them. I don't care about how many tickets they sold. Let them give back the money. But they made a mockery of us as a council, as far as I'm concerned.
I understand your anger and Joe's anger and Frank's anger, because you all feel that they put one over on you. I didn't know enough about what their plans were. I just told them when I was there how many phone calls that I was getting, and that they were on a very short leash.
When you got the phone calls, Mayor, what were some of the complaints, if I may ask?
Well, basically, what was happening here, I was getting reports from the council how unhappy they were. I know Frank was pretty vocal. I can't say that anybody from the public called to complain. Most of it was me reacting to calls from the council who were upset, from Joe and you and Frank.
The complaints we got were strictly from members of the council who somehow feel that they were misled. I have spoken at length with the owners and am assured that what you're speaking of, John, and the events that take place indoors are not what is scheduled for outdoors. We take them at their word, and it's very much our hope that they will deliver as they promised. A barbecue with live music, that's it. And that's what it's going to be. And Joe, if at the end of the day, they don't deliver that product, then I was wrong. But I'm confident they are going to have food, people sitting at tables, and music, which is what we allow in every other bar, restaurant in town.
Are they gonna have masks, Michael? Face masks?
They will follow the social distancing rules. So they will adhere to all requirements, the servers, the waiting staff, everybody who's there. There is no self-service. When people are going indoors to use the restrooms are required to wear masks. It's like every other restaurant. It is the same thing that could happen on a Saturday night happening on a Sunday instead. And, you know, again, we are watching it, and I've had many discussions here. I'm confident that they are going to do what is right because these owners have always done what's right by our borough.
Michael, all I ask you to do is go to the website and see what they are posting. What they're saying is going to happen is everything I asked you not to let happen. That's what they're posting. That's what they're putting out there by their public relations people. So you have to tell them.
I've seen the flyer, and it says seating of 8 to a table, and you know all the things it's supposed to be. So I guess
Melissa Lambert, thank you very much. She just posted it. It's here up on the chat screen. You can just click on it. It'll take you right to the website. Look, they have posted this. They have made this their own public relations nightmare. Anything that I'm saying is what they've posted and the pictures that go along with it. And if that's what they have set out there, then that's exactly what I asked you, and you promised me, Joe, I will not let a rave happen. And you know what? That's what they got out there, and that's what they are marketing. I have nothing further, Council President.
Well, like the mayor said, the Hawthorne way, do what you want and ask for forgiveness later.
Frank, can we make a motion in a second to have the mayor stop this?
He's not going to.
you don't have that authority.
You can't do it, right, Michael?
That's correct. That is correct.
Even, John, even if you were to rescind the outdoor liquor approval, that was for permanent. The temporary, which is extended under COVID, it can be whatever they want. So I just don't like being told one thing. We said no outdoor parties. We were assured there'd be no outdoor parties, and this is exactly what we were given. So I don't like being sold a bill of goods and then getting smacked in the face with it.
I agree, Mr. President.
So.
And I also understand that, Frank.
So then why does it happen?
Why does it happen? Because it happened around me. It didn't happen through me. And when I got wind of it, I went down there and I talked to the owner and told him what my concerns were. And he assured me that it'd be a peaceful day and that nobody would be getting out of hand. So I have to take him at his assurance.
Well, then all the other calls where they had similar events where the police responded to and the ambulances responded to, I guess that didn't go that well either. So I guess they've already proven their case that their word doesn't necessarily go along with what they say. So I'll leave it at that. I'm not looking to cancel the party, John. I mean, at this point, they've sold their tickets. I'm not looking to hurt anyone. All I'm saying is after the fact, it's not right what they presented and where they ended up.
Frank, I'm not looking to hurt anybody, but I don't like the way they handled their application for us.
Nor do I. I just didn't feel right not expressing my disappointment and anger towards being led astray.
Okay.
Any other questions for the administration? Seeing none, can I did want to say that I did want to thank Michael for one thing, for passing along the final draft of the trucking or restricted trucking path for the whole Utter Ave and numbered streets on 10th, 11th, 9th, and to restrict where trucks can park and travel. I know that's been a big issue with a lot of people in the 4th Ward, in particular that area. We've been studying it for a long, long time. It has come back to the committee for final review. We're going to be releasing it to the rest of the council this week. I'm going to put it on the agenda for the next meeting. It'll be posted on our website, so that anybody who lives in that area with traffic, I know Joanne's on tonight as well with the traffic issues. It's a little bit different. There's also garbage issues that we need to follow up on. Mayor, do you know if the police chief went and met with the big three over on Utter regarding the garbage issues that resurfaced? I know hairnets and waste were a big issue before. They've come back now with the masks and the gloves. And I know that he was going to go over and talk with the big three. I'm not going to single out just Premio, but they are one of the bigger offenders.
We're working on a virtual meeting with the big three to go over a lot of different issues, and this is one, and we hope to have it sooner rather than later.
Council President, let me jump in on this also because I met with Sergeant Geyer today, who created the plan. It's still a work in progress. I want you to understand that we are looking at all the angles. There's a lot of businesses affected and involved. So we're looking at it as a layered thing. There are the businesses on Fifth Avenue that present one set of issues, which we will be meeting with and laying down some law, frankly, as to what they should and shouldn't be doing. And then we have the issues on 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, all the way up, a separate set of issues related, but not totally. So this is just one step in what's going to be a layered process. We have a lot to do here.
And I'm not saying we're going to get it perfect the first time. So if we do something that inadvertently causes a secondary effect on another street, it's okay. Give us your comments, residents, because there is no fix-all for everybody. So if we travel trucks down one area and it creates a problem for somebody else, well, then we'll have to readjust things. But we just want to try and do something to address the issue that's been ongoing for many years. And as these companies get busier, it's only getting worse. So no law is perfect, but we want to try and do something.
Frank,
So
I was gonna, if you don't mind, I was gonna speak on this under council committees.
Okay.
While we're on the subject, I didn't have a chance to review the ordinance. It was emailed to me at 5:08 this afternoon. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna review the ordinance, and then we will have another ordinance meeting before our next council meeting, so we can go over and then have it ready for the agenda if we have to make some modifications. But I would also like to ask whoever is listening to this meeting, please email myself or Lori Fernandez at Town Hall with your suggestions so that we may be able to add your comments to our ordinance, because if you live there, you're living with this. We don't see everything that happens on a daily basis. You do. So we will be more than happy to address, your concerns, hopefully with the ordinance. As Frank said, it is a work in progress, but we're going to move forward, and we may have to adjust it here or there. And we're going to adjust it so that our residents are happy and at least comfortable with what we're doing. Also, Mayor, just so you're aware, Premio right now is parking trailers on the O'Brien property on Goffel Road across the street from the Hawthorne Rug facility. They ruined the parking lot on Lafayette Avenue. Mr. O'Brien, who's the owner of the property and lives at Franklin Lakes, called me with regard to that because he wants to get to Premio so that they can, I guess, either say get off the property or work out some kind of deal. Because right now, basically, they're trespassing. There was 3 tractor trailers there almost all afternoon this afternoon. So just to bring you up to date with regard to what Mr. O'Brien, who's the owner of the property, is looking for.
Anything else,
That's all I
John?
have, Frank. Thank you.
Okay. Have a motion to record the administrative agenda.
Motion to move.
Motion by Witecki, second by Bennett. Roll call.
I think it's safe. All in favor? No?
All in favor? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Introduction of ordinances. We have introduction of ordinance number 2254-20, an ordinance to amend chapter 25 of the Code of the Borough of Hawthorne, Department of Public Safety, Article 2, Police Department, Section 25-3, Table of Organization, subsection C, so as to increase the number of lieutenants from 4 to 5. Be resolved, this ordinance is now passed at first reading, and said ordinance be further reconsidered for final passage at the meeting of the governing body of the Municipal Building, 445 Lafayette Avenue, or by virtual meeting at August 12, 2020. That said time and place, all persons interested will be given the opportunity to be heard concerning the same. The clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance in the record once, at least 1 week prior to said hearing, with the notice of its introduction and time and place when and where said ordinance will be considered for final passage. Have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Lane. Second. Second by Sierra. Discussion. Joe.
The only section I have a question about of this ordinance is where it says the one lieutenant will be assigned to the detective bureau. I thought we had discussed in ordinance committee that that wasn't going to be the case. The chief has his ability to set up the table of organization is what we discussed.
The recommendation of the police, Joe, was that it be in the detective bureau because they felt that they needed that officer in the detective bureau. So we're going with the police's recommendation of having him assigned to the detective bureau.
The concern, Joe, was that we have right now 4 patrols, each with a lieutenant and a sergeant, and that if we created a 5th lieutenant position and did not designate where that would be, then the chief in his discretion could put 2 lieutenants on 1 shift and defeat the purpose of why we are moving this ordinance as we are. So the chief does have control over where he assigns people, but you do have the ability as a council to permanently create positions, as we did with captain, 1 patrol and 1 operations. So it's along those same lines.
But, all right, so I'm in favor of the ordinance, so I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, Mayor. But honestly, I don't want to designate the 1 lieutenant because that was my agreeing point. My agreeing point was, okay, if the chief feels that, okay, we need to restructure the table of organization, it's like you're telling the DPW, okay, you got to have this guy here, you have to have this guy here. Where my buy-in or why I was accepting to it was that we weren't identifying that person had to be in that role. If 6 months from now or 8 months from now, we'll always have to have a lieutenant in the detective bureau now.
Well, the idea was to keep the investment we put into these detectives in the detective bureau. To take a detective out of the detective bureau and put him on traffic or patrol would mean that the money we spend training him as a detective would be wasted. And also, as Michael said, this prevents a road chief, now Chief McCullough, of deciding that he wants to, to have 2 captains on patrol, not captains, I'm sorry, lieutenants on patrol, thereby affecting a sergeant, and then putting 2 sergeants, for example, in a detective.
Which I said I was willing, Mayor, I was willing to, okay, move the sergeant to take away 1 sergeant. And that was one of the things that we had discussed in committee. I don't want to get into our committee meeting, but at no point did we discuss that verbiage was going to be in this ordinance. Because now I gotta be honest with you. I don't know. It's not what we discussed. That's exactly what we didn't discuss. And now I'm reading it in the ordinance. That's not what we discussed.
Joe, the feeling was that it
then we
gave
should
the
have another
council.
committee.
That's up to you, and you have the right to throw the baby out with the bathwater too. I'm not telling you how to vote, but I'm telling you.
Look, I can't go to restaurants now. I'm not going to be able to drive the streets. Come on, I'm not crazy.
Yeah, and running has been a problem with public service, so they're not crazy about that either. No, we can discuss it more offline so I can.
No, because once we vote yes, it's going to be permanent until we take the ordinance away.
Joe, this is the introduction, and it's certainly a discussion that we can continue to have. You're introducing tonight, you're not adopting. If we have further discussion and determine that we do not want to assign permanently to one particular area, then we have to look at whether or not we have to amend the adoption or that it becomes a de minimis change. Then we can talk about it. But you're only voting to introduce tonight, Joe. You're not voting to adopt, and we can continue this discussion.
I would really appreciate that. You should really have considered sales, because you could sell somebody anything.
Apparently not.
Well, you sold me, but.
Oh, you sold it, all right.
All right, I have no other questions, Council President.
Any other questions on the ordinance? Okay. Roll call.
Bennett,
Yes.
Leosa,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Mealy,
Yes.
Ciara,
Yes.
Wojciechowski,
Yes for introduction.
Matthews.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Reports of special, I'm sorry, never mind, resolutions, consent agenda. R 87-20 is a purchase of sound and recording system for the council courtroom. Have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Witecki, second by Sierra, and this is to replace our cable TV equipment, which is about 17 years old, 16 years
20 years old, Frank.
20 years old, okay. And obviously this will also help us go directly live to the internet versus going to camera to the TV. We can have an angled camera shot right now. Hopefully by the time this is installed, we'll be back in the chambers. But at this point, roll call.
Wojciechowski,
Yes.
Ciara,
Yes.
Mealy,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Leosa,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Matthews.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Reports of special council committees. Joe, we'll start your way.
I'm sorry, I had no report for Shade Tree except that the new tree has been installed at the high school and it does look beautiful. And then jumping over to IT, I'm not going to give a report for IT, but I cannot thank Lori and the IT committee enough. The laptop really is excellent. It's a great way to go through your emails, so much easier than using your phone. I got a lot of the pictures that get sent. You don't get to view the pictures, and not having a PC in a house anymore. I really thank you very much, Lori, for the work that you put into it, and the IT committee, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Glad it's working.
Hey, you look better too, Joe.
Thank you.
Mike. Thank you, Council President. We have no report for the Board of Education. We do have a quick library report. We met today in person at the library. There was some discussion about opening, but we're waiting for the proper PPE material. When we have that, there will be more discussion about when we can open. The only thing else, and I know this kind of tramples on you a little bit, Frank, about the chamber, but I'm going to promote it anyway. I'm going to encourage everybody to come down to the farmers market. They're open from 10 to 1:30 every Sunday. That's all I have. Thank you. Let me give my report. Come on, Raina.
We're just going to be launching the Environmental Commission Green Team. We're going to be doing the poster contest next week, so be on the lookout for our press releases, and that's about it.
Okay. Bruce.
Yeah, thanks to the pandemic, the Public Works Committee has been conducting a lot of its normal business with Eric via the borough email system, and so far it's been working out all right. He's been keeping us well informed of what needs to be done and what's on tap and what's costing what. So far so good. Hopefully we'll all be able to get back together and meet face to face in the very near future. Concludes my report.
Dominic.
Okay. Under public safety, I received a letter from the Board of Fire Commissioners wanting to meet with the people from Company 4 discussing a new engine. Rich, did you get one of those also, Mayor? We'll do it in the future. Well,
Yeah, I saw the copy, and I think Eric probably got it as well. We'll have to set
okay.
something.
And under the crosswalks, the new ones that we're putting up, there'll be one going up on the corner of Van Winkle and Lafayette. They drill the holes. I guess Public Works will be putting the signs up this week. That's all I have.
John.
Basically, under ordinance committee, I basically said everything. That's all I have for tonight, Frank.
Okay. Chamber of Commerce, Mike stole my thunder, but they wanted me to read my report. The Hawthorne Farmers Market's been open for the last 2 Sundays so far this season. They're still located at the Lewis Bay, the second library. Customers can enter and exit from either side of the parking lot from Lafayette Ave or Grand Ave. And just remember that the new hours are 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Please wear a face mask to practice social distancing while shopping. And the vendors are happy to see their customers back, and they thank you for your support. So please support them, because the more you do, the longer they'll be here. That concludes my report. Bills. I have a motion to approve the bills and forward them to the treasurer for payment. Motion by Sierra, second by Bennett. Any questions? Roll call.
Bennett, Bennett,
Abstain on the fire department, yes on all.
You're on mute, Laura.
hello. Bennett,
I can't hear.
Still on mute.
I am.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Bennett,
Yes.
Leosa,
Yes on everything except PSEG abstaining.
Lane,
Abstain on the fire department and the ambulance corps, yes on all others.
Mealy,
Yes on all of them.
yeah, Sierra,
Yes, on everything.
Wojcicki,
Abstain on the fire department, yes on all other.
and Matthews.
No on PSE&G, yes on all the others.
Thank you, motion carries.
Public comment. I'll now open the meeting to the public. If anyone desires to be heard, please call in now. Dial in at 312-757-3121. Access code 472-199-829. Or you may message us in at lfernandez@hawthornenj.org. Or anyone that's on the meeting can type in a message on the chat line. I'll get to you first, Alma, for the in-person ones, but let me just go down the line of the ones that are listed on the side. Says, please note, Abrisha asked a question at 7:12. Yes, she did, and I answered her. Her question was, what training will Scott Barone? What's question was, I'm curious what exact training from where Mr. Barone will be receiving. What does this entail? And my answer to her is he's a Board of Education employee, not a borough employee. So that's the question for them, not us. The borough does give a donation or a share of the resource officer costs to the Board of Education to pay for the protection costs, but they are not our employees.
Elmo, you're up on deck. Thank you. Can't hear you, Elma. Your mic is on, but I'm not hearing you.
All right, how about now?
There you go. Now we're hearing you.
All right, thank you. Once again, good evening, everyone. Good evening, council members. This question is really more for Mayor Goldberg.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Elma. Whoever's speaking, public comment, please start with state your name and your address, please, for the record. Thank you.
Sorry about that. That's our norm, but I forgot to ask you for that.
Okay.
No, I actually started with that, and but no one heard me, so I'll try it again. Sorry. Alma Morel, 1 Page Ave. My apologies, Ms. Fernandez.
No problem.
So once again, good evening. Mayor Goldberg, I wanted to see if you could give an update on Sunday, June 7th, during the Black Lives Matter rally. There was a systemic policing changes call to action that was presented to you at that rally. I personally have reached out to you via email, and I appreciate our ongoing communication through email. And so I'm really just following up on some of the concerns that I have raised and or suggestions, as well as relating, which are similar to the call to action that was shared with you at the Black Lives Rally Matter. Recognizing that some of those issues are really out of your control, that probably is something along the lines of what General Grewal and the governor will have to issue. But I was just wondering if you had any updates regarding this particular topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Alman. We have been emailing back and forth. I know the chief of police has been emailing back and forth with you. I know Craig gave a whole list of points that he wanted, which we felt didn't apply to a small city. A lot of what the Green Team's police action has seems to apply to larger cities. We are one of the best trained departments in the state of New Jersey. As a matter of fact, we teach a lot of the courses to the police in Passaic County on conflict resolution and how to bring down violence. I'm very confident that my police department is getting the proper training. I know it's a popular time now to jump on police, and I think that's a mistake here in Hawthorne. We will follow whatever rules come from Governor Murphy or the Attorney General regarding police conflict. I don't know whether I shared with you is that the last time a gun was discharged by a Hawthorne police officer was 16 years ago, and that happened in the city of Patterson, not even in Hawthorne, and that over the last 8 years, we've had no complaints of excessive force. So while I understand it's a sexy topic to talk about defunding the police or retraining the police, we feel that we have maintained good training for our police officers, and we feel that they are reflective of the community.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if that is a back and forth, or I just listen and we
You
move
can
on.
keep going if you want. Elma, I know that one of the items on that list was body cams, and I don't know if you and the chief, and I don't know if you talked about that. Beth, can you mute your microphone? Beth?
Hi.
Can you mute your microphone? Okay. Elma, I know body cams is something that we authorized 3 years ago, and I know when we went and our police welcomed it, obviously to try and basically cover their, protect themselves from issues that could be brought up. We did place an order with a vendor, and it didn't work out. The vendor went under, and now a different state contract vendor is being sought to fulfill that order, and they're going to. So that's something that we did welcome, but I know that was on that list, but I don't know what the communication you've had with the police chief. I know a lot of those things were stuff that was not council related. It was more police chief and county training that they would do. So it's really nothing that I could offer you any answers to those questions for you. But if they got to give you whatever we could do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The police chief actually never responded to my emails. It was only really Mayor Goldberg, so I appreciate that. Okay. And just to clarify, Mr. Goldberg, Mayor Goldberg, I respectfully disagree with your assessment regarding that this is only something to be discussed in large cities. In no form that I ever speak to defund the police. I was just talking about best policing practices. For example, just having an ongoing community conversations regarding continuing what the practices like you said. So I am very positive and pro the police department. So, and I believe I shared those thoughts with you in the email. So really what I'm hoping for is a continual open dialogue conversation between the police chief, you and the community. And I believe that was one of the call to actions was whether you call it an official board or just, and I gave the suggestions of just checking in with the community. If that's really what the view is of you and the police chief of having community policing, I don't see anything wrong with having whether it's a once a month check-in with the community about whatever our issues are. So it's not something personally about it's a sexy topic or not. It's just a matter of ensuring that we continue to have an open dialogue with our police department and with the mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you, I know you were not somebody who talked about sexy issues or whatever, so too often we all get lumped in on the same conversation. So I apologize that you took up on that.
Mayor, do you know when the police chief thinks the time frame for the body camera fulfillment will be? That was a follow-up question from one of the residents.
I don't want to give you a false date, Frank, but I will check and get back.
Roughly, sometime within the end of this year?
I would like to hope so, but I don't want to just speak for the police without speaking to the police.
Okay, well, I tried to get the answer for, who was it, Melissa asked that? Yes, that was Melissa. Okay. Joanne Green, obviously her issue is parking on the on 6th Ave. It's a result.
Yes.
Where are you, Joanne?
Yeah, so Joanne Green, 104 6th Avenue. And the parking issue has been in the last 3 months. I don't know what happened at Premio, or I guess I want to understand why they're not providing parking for their employees. But in the last 3 months, they have been parking all over the residential streets. So on 6, I'm at least 3 blocks away, and they're parking 5 to 6 cars a day where I'm competing for parking on my own street. If I have family over or any type of company, they're parking a block or 2 away. I thankfully have not had an issue with PPE, but I know some of my neighbors have had PPE on their lawns. And again, when I've asked them about why they're parking here, they have told me they do work for Premio and there is no parking. So I guess I just want to understand why Premio is not providing parking and if there's something that can be done, because it's not fair to the residents.
I see that Beth is shaking her head yes as well. And Mayor, I know they used to park in by Churchill, and now all of a sudden the Churchill parking lot is totally empty and they don't park there anymore.
Yeah, and
that will be an issue when we meet with the three companies.
I mean, even if you could ask them to rent some spaces from Churchill. If it's a question of Churchill just wanting to be compensated for it, then that would at least be a help to get a dozen of the cars off the street, something. I know they used to park them down, like I guess by Shopmeyer, and then they would carpool them up. Something's changed in the last quarter.
Yeah, and definitely to your point, Churchill is now empty. And again, I've asked them, they said they work for Premio and there's no parking. And so they're parking all over our streets. They're parking up to the corners. It's not, and they're there for 12 hours at a time. Karen is also on the call, and she's, it's just a problem, and it's really a problem on 6th Avenue.
Okay. Well, when the police chief has his talk with those big three, that'll be a big part of the discussion. We'll follow up on that, Joanne. You've obviously emailed us a couple times, and I feel bad that we don't have a resolve for you, but it's not over.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Anytime. Craig, you wanted to speak.
Thank you, Council President. Just a couple quick things. I wanted to try to get some more clarification from Councilman Sciarra, since he's the liaison to the Board of Ed, as to really what's going on with Mr. Varone. If he can share with us what he's privy to and what happened. Was this a vote to decide the outcome? Was this just a couple people that decided? I think there's like too much unknown. And I think if there's some honest answers that come out of it, and it would be a lot more forthgoing to the community. It took an article by, Philip DeVensis here to kind of tell everybody what was going on with the situation. Even the Board of Ed didn't even put the actual quote that happened in the press release and the announcements, which was, pretty telling of the situation. So I'm hoping we can get some more clarification on that. That's the first thing. So I'd love to hear some clarification on that, please.
Well, I don't want to speak for the board.
If I could just comment at this point, I don't know if this is appropriate without sunshining him.
He doesn't work for us.
He's not our employee, Joe. And I responded back to Arbrishaw on that he's not our employee, but I don't know whether there was an official meeting. Obviously, Mike's our representative for the public meeting, so I don't know if Mike is going to even have that answer, Craig, but whatever Mike heard at the public meeting, he can certainly share with you. Yeah, hey, Greg. I don't want to speak for the board. A question like that should really be answered by them and not me. I am in the audience like everybody else, and only reporting on things that are crossover to the community. So that's what I do as a liaison to the Board of Ed. They did have a public statement. There was a statement of an apology from Mr. Varone, and I think you probably can find that somewhere. So I don't know if they have it on their website or not. And from what I understand, he's been suspended for the remainder of the summer and be going through some type of training. I'm not sure what type of training that would be. So any other fill in the blanks, you're going to need to talk to them directly.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Sciarra. Appreciate it. I guess going back to the topic at hand about the ordinance from 4 to 5 lieutenants, I would love to hear more as to why. Is this a promotion or is this an outright hire? And if it's going to affect the budget, like what would the impact be on the budget for the next fiscal year by doing this hire or promotion?
Yeah, it's a promotion. It's not a hire, and we're funding some of it by the detectives giving up their stipends that they currently receive. So it comes up to pretty much a wash, although there'll be some cost out of that. The idea is that the detectives receive such specialty training that it's important that they have an avenue to be promoted through the Detective Bureau without having to bring them out to put them on patrol, because once you do that, you then lose something in the Detective Bureau and you lose something in patrol because that person hasn't been out on patrol in could be 6, 10, 15 years. So this was being done to try and capitalize on the money we invest in training these guys so that we will have a better trained police force. We are not planning a new hire. This is a promotion, and we'll create one promotion, and then assuming a lieutenant goes to sergeant goes to lieutenant, then there'll be a promotion of a sergeant as well. But we have no intention at the present time of hiring any more people. We're just rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic.
Thank you, Mayor Goldberg. I appreciate it. Is there an update? I apologize. I was still at work. Is there any update on the Pride Alliance committee, allies to the committee?
great. First of all, I enjoyed your commute home because I was able to watch you as you were in the car and watch the trees go through the sunroof. We had a kickoff meeting with the chairman and vice chairman where we exchanged some ideas. We agreed that we're going to have to meet a couple of more times before the committee begins to meet to make sure that everybody is on the same page. But it was really a good opening meeting, and I anticipate before the summer is out, we'll be 2 or 3 more times, and hopefully we'll be able to kick off the first program they're talking about is something in September, I think.
Mayor, who's the vice?
Vice Chair is Lyle Hatch.
Oh, okay. I know Lyle.
Great. Thank you, Mayor Goldberg.
You're welcome.
Thanks, everyone.
Does anyone else wish to be heard?
There were a lot of questions.
Karen?
President Matthews, there were a lot of questions in the chat box.
I think I got all the chat box, so I think we're up to Karen now.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me the time. I live at 94 6th Avenue, and I'm having a lot of issues with the parking. It's gotten really, really bad. There are some times I come home from work, and I'm a nurse, so I'm in and out all the time. And I come home from work, I sometimes have to park literally 2 blocks away because the same cars are parked all along our block, even on 5th Avenue, and they're there for hours. They're literally there for maybe 12 hours. And I understand, it's public parking and everybody has the right to park, but to every single day to have all the primo employees, and I don't know how many employees they have, but they're literally parking all over all of the blocks. 5th Avenue, 6th Avenue, even onto 7th Avenue, they have all of utter, and it's horrible. You can't even I can't even park on my own block. It's become very, very stressful. And then the employees are also throwing all their dirty gloves and their hats and their masks all over the lawn and the street. It's really terrible. And I'm just hoping that there's some way we can resolve this issue, because if you have like over 100 employees, or I don't know what they have, you should be able to supply your employees with some sort of parking. Or if you don't have enough parking on your own property, then partner with some of the other businesses like Churchill or other businesses that are close in the area to at least, give the residents that live here a chance to park on their own block. It's become really overwhelming and very, very stressful. And then there's also nights where you hear the trucks with their beeping and their backup beeps that literally like all night long, it wakes you up. You can't even sleep with your window open because you hear the backup beeps for hours, and it's really terrible. It's a really poor quality of life, and it's very disappointing. And I'm just hoping and reaching out and hoping that we can do something to resolve the issue, because it's really bad.
Thank you, Karen. Obviously, you live near Joanne and Beth, so you're all in the same boat, and we're hoping to address it for all of you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for sticking around for the long meeting for that. Does anyone else wish to be heard? Thank you, Joanne. Karen.
Thank you.
Frank, I just have a comment.
Yes.
Mayor, when you meet with the 3 businesses, as I said to you in the past, I would like to be part of that meeting. I think it's important because I've been involved with residents on 5th Avenue with regard for the parking of their vehicles in front of their homes. Just basically what Karen said, disregarding all their PPE equipment. It's terrible. So if possible, I'd like to be part of that meeting.
If you're available when we have the meeting, we'll certainly include you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And don't
don't think there's any other chat questions. You have any other questions, any emails to you, Lori?
Melissa, did you want to speak? You emailed me a question, but I see you're still here.
Unmute, Lori.
I think she's just thinking really hard. Oh, Alma.
Thank you. Do I introduce myself again, or?
Nah, we know who you are.
I apologize if this was asked in the past or discussed. Regarding the concerns for speeding, what discussion has the council had regarding installing speed bumps in some of our, I'm sure there's a cost to it, but what conversations have been had in the past regarding speed bumps?
You know, our engineer and our police department have steered away from speed bumps or speed humps, only because if you live there, you're going to be the one that hears the thump, 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 thump. And you're going to be the one calling us to say, I can't stand this noise every time a car goes over it. And that's the recommendation that they've had from other towns that have had the humps in. I know Glen Rock has put them in. Maybe there's even temporary ones that you could put in with rebar that they've actually taken out because of the noise factor. It does slow them down, but we found that stop signs at intermediate locations on through streets actually work better. Like that's what we did on Main Street, where we installed like every 4 or 5 blocks, we put a stop sign, and that kind of slowed down the runway effect. We'd rather try and do that versus the speed humps or bumps.
Okay, thank you. I guess I just thought about that because I know, I believe it's Hullock. I hope I pronounced that street correctly. Area, there are some speed bumps along those streets. So I wasn't sure.
Private development, they put them in. It was a private development. That whole area is private, and they put them in to stop everybody from doing a cut through, because that's a great spot to cut through to get to Washington School if you're up at the top of the area there.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep. Lori, did you have any other questions emailed?
Let me check. Well, Melissa's asking for a question for the next meeting, so I'm not really quite sure.
She was following up for the body cameras. She said she could wait for the body camera question, I believe.
Okay.
For the police, just look up to hear about the efforts for the progress getting the body cameras for the police department at each council meeting moving forward. I'll send an email to Lori in the future for the agendas. So I think we addressed Melissa's question. Is that correct, Melissa? I think you're still on.
I can't unmute her, so I'm not sure what the problem is.
Well,
yes, you guys addressed it, and I'm happy to wait for an answer or updates at future meetings.
Okay, thank you, Melissa.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And there's a question here from Shelley. Shelley, do you want to speak? Where's Shelley? Here's Shelley. She's right here.
I don't see it in the chat or an email.
In the chat.
Hi, it was a.
Oh, here she is.
Everyone here? Hey, everyone.
Hi, Shelley.
Hey, Mayor and council people.
Can you please state your name and address for the record?
Sure thing. My name is Shelley Cross. I live at 563 Goffle Hill Road.
Thank you.
In Hawthorne.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to me. My wife and I moved here 2 years ago, and we love Hawthorne. We picked this town out because it was really cute and fun and fabulous, and it has a great park. It's wonderful. So thank you for having me. A couple weeks ago, we went to the flagpole, the demonstration, asking that the gay pride flag be raised, and there were many of us there, but there was not the mayor, and there was not a member of our council present. And so I'm just wondering why you were not, any of you, why none of you were there. And I'm just wondering, like, why you will not raise the flag. And, you know, that's just my question. Thanks.
First of all, Shelley, I wasn't there because I wasn't invited, and I have a policy of going only to places where people invite me. I was invited to the Black Lives Matters March, and I was there and I spoke. We feel that we displayed the gay pride flag in a place of honor in a municipal building. We understand that there's a difference of opinion, and that's okay. But again, if they had invited me there, I would have been there, because I go everywhere I'm invited. Sometimes to people say, I wish I never invited him because he shows up. But that's the only reason I wasn't there, because I wasn't invited, and as far as I know, no member of the council was invited.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome. Kevin?
Anyone else want to talk about why they went there?
Well, Shelley, I'll give you my answer. I was moving my son into an apartment for law school out in Long Island that day.
Shelley, my family and I were away in Pennsylvania that weekend, where we go several weekends a month.
I also had a conflict. I heard about the meeting, well, the get together. I had a conflict. You know, there was no official invite, but I couldn't have made it anyway.
I didn't know about it till after the fact, and in fact, my youngest son, who is gay, he didn't know about it either. So probably didn't get the word out too well. But there's next year, and if I'm invited, I'll be there, and so will my son Kevin.
So Shelley, just so you know, Shelley, there's 4 out of the 7 council members have someone in the Pride Alliance in their family, and the mayor even had a member in his family. So we support the Pride community and the equality 100%, as well as the Black Lives Movement. Well, we support that movement 100%. Equality should be for everyone. Like the mayor said, you know, he just doesn't necessarily agree with the flag flying at the moment, but, you know, he's got a Pride committee going now, and we'll see where that goes. But that's where we're at the moment. So I hope that answers your question, Shelley. Do you have anything else before I go to another caller?
Yeah, first of all, thanks to everyone for answering my question. I really appreciate it. You know, like, one of the best things about living in a small town in New Jersey, which is a rare thing to live in a small town in northern New Jersey particularly, is that we get to have this nice conversation. And I appreciate that. I would hope that, you know, you'd move this flag outside next year, because if you're a gay kid growing up in a small town, it means something wonderful and something special to see that flag outside flying in the wind. It lets people know that you're okay to be here. And we have a lot of kids in Hawthorne who are suffering, and lots of kids in Hawthorne who they need to know that this awesome small town is behind them. And the best way we can do that is to put that flag on the flagpole. And I hope that when next June comes around, that we can all do this next year. I hope that just beyond the Pride Committee, that we can have a real conversation and a real, like, awesome time next June, putting that flag on the flagpole. I lived in Clifton for 15 years, and, you know, Clifton has very similar struggles as Hawthorne does about putting that flag on the flag. And I'll tell you, when Clifton put that flag on the flagpole, we had our GSA Alliance from the high school come in. We had Tyler Clementi's mom come in and give a speech. We had singing. We had the town assembly coming in. And not everyone in Clifton was in favor of that flag going up the flagpole. But when it happened, it was a beautiful thing. And lots of people in town appreciated it. And lots of people in town understood that it's not just about a flag. It is about saving the lives of young people in a town. I don't care. If you come up to my house, you can see the flag in front of my house. So it's not even about me. I'm asking you to do this to save the lives of young people. And I thank you for listening to me. And I hope that next June, we're going to have a good time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Shelley.
Council President, if I may, I haven't responded. I was away. I do go away most weekends. So I did want to respond, but I can say that last year I was at the Asbury Pride Parade and I was the front page of the Star Ledger walking in the parade. So I'm there.
Got it. Kevin.
And Shelley, just Raina, I was away also in Pennsylvania, so, and I definitely support the whole movement. I have it in my family multiple times, so makes no difference to me. Everyone's equal and people, and we should respect that. Everyone is welcomed. Thank you.
Kevin.
Hello.
Thank you.
My name is Kevin Bergen. I live at 335 Central Ave. My pronouns are he, him. My question is, I got like the tail end of the TKA issue. Is that a town issue or is that like a talent with Batagra issue?
The issue was when they came to us for an outside liquor license. They said they were just going to have some tables and dining outside. And in the past, they've had outdoor parties, which have been an issue. They said there was no parties going to be happening out there. Then all of a sudden, the TKA thing was found online, and obviously it's a party. It's a promoted event. That was not what was presented to us. That's the issue.
I don't see party on the poster. All I see is barbecue. I see some.
If you have a band on a stage and live music and alcohol, it's a party.
Sure, but they never called it a party. So we're just using our inferences, and that's fine. But that's what we're going.
They also changed the, Councilman Witecki used the term rave is what they used to call it, but now they called it a barbecue.
They did call it a rave?
In the past, they were calling it that. Now they called it a barbecue.
In past or in this one?
In the past events that they've had, which is Councilman Witecki's been complaining about that for a year on Sundays. They would have this like once every other month or something like that. And there were issues with people getting hurt, fights, things like that.
Now,
put a lot of people together with a live band and something's bound to happen.
Did any residents complain about TKA in the past?
I don't know if it's TKA, but they've complained about these outside parties in the past with the outside music. I don't know the reference of TKA, whether that's just this promoter or who promoted the previous parties.
But we're allowing it to, or is it just like on high alert we're watching it, or they're not allowed to be there?
Well, we're letting it go through now, and the mayor's saying they're on high alert as far as behaving.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
I suggest why don't you go to it and tell us how it is.
Oh, I'm getting the whole party over there.
Council President, can I just give an update on the Batagra rave party? What do you call it? The barbecue? So as of today, only 90 tickets were sold, or seats, because they sit up to 8 people at a table. And it's a DJ that's playing music. And they are taking down all the social media due to the problems and interpretations. So I just wanted to give that update for them. They asked me to give that update.
Yeah, they have taken off all social media because I shared the event and they've deleted it.
Correct. And it says social distancing Sunday is the flyer I'm looking at. Tables of 2 to 8, which is allowed. So I just wanted to, they asked me to give that update. Thank you.
Okay.
We have a question from Arbisha, and the question is, as a parent, considering we have opened up the pool, will there be movies shown at the band shell for children this summer? That would fall under Mike.
Yeah, hi. We are definitely planning on showing movies. We tend to do the movies towards later part of the year because it just stays too late, too long right now. So we're probably going to do one towards end of July, beginning of August, and definitely going to do one towards the end of August. Again, assuming everything goes the way it should. So we are trying to do 2 movies and trying to also get in 2 live music events. That is our hope.
Thank you. And Craig just wanted to know, will the HPD be there to enforce social distancing? This is back at the barbecue.
The answer to that is yes.
Off-duty ones that are being hired as on duty?
They have retained off-duty persons to ensure compliance. And
If you find a non-duty police officer, there's a problem.
Yeah, there will be no on duty.
So if off-duty members of the department come down with COVID-19 and spread it to the rest of the force, then what happens?
I'm confident that the off-duty personnel will adhere to safe social distancing.
And your video is frozen, Michael.
I just thought he was standing still.
That's what I thought
it's
for a
funny
while.
because it doesn't look frozen to me.
Oh, okay. You're just staring at us really still. Okay, Craig asked because Morristown had a shutdown a few weeks back at a beer garden. Okay, does anyone else wish to be heard? We still have Jeff and Philip and Brett, Elizabeth, Kay, and a couple callers and a couple no-namers. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Make a motion to close.
Accept the motion to close by Neely, second by
Second.
Lane.
Second it, Frank.
Second by Lane. Have them all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The next regular meeting of the Municipal Council will be a virtual meeting on Wednesday, July 22nd at 7 p.m. Have a motion to adjourn. Motion by Lane, second by Sierra. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We are adjourned. Good night, all. Thank you, everyone, from the public for joining us.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.